this time, Martin Odegaard.
Zinchenko from Ketty, it's 4. Martinelli tiptoeing in. Predatory, perfect. There is a gorgeous arrogance about Arsenal now.
It really is. They are enjoying every second of this.
Hello and welcome to Not Another Arsenal podcast, aka the who's our mascot? Lucas Podolski, is it?
No.
How did I forget this 2 weeks after? Jesus Christ.
Christian's
Hector
not here.
Bellerin.
Hector Bellerin, Kelly didn't want to remember. The Hector Bellerin of Arsenal podcast. My name is
Who?
Mike Kirchhoff. Exactly. We're going to talk about a very positive week that the Arsenal has just had, smashing Nottingham Forest in a very comfortable home victory, 3-0, and a resounding, very tricky historical. I'm going to say historical because it was the first time that Athletic Club play in their stadium for the Champions League. Historical Champions League fixture. Start off as you mean to go 2-0 away at Spain. You love to see it. Great way to start our campaign. A little bit of a mix-up in our starting lineup today. Chris couldn't make it, unfortunately, but the wonderful John is here to substitute. John, welcome back, John.
The less handsome Chris. So now I'm Sebi with hair and the less handsome Chris.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
You were
both
getting
roles.
battered, my friend.
The Nani
I
Madueke to our Bukayo Saka, who is absent.
Yeah. I appreciate you letting me come back. And I am ready. We got a lot to cover from a couple of weeks. Some parts exciting, some parts not exciting. So a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we don't want to excite dear listener too much at nighttime. We do need them to go to sleep and be well rested. So we're going to keep our toxic positivity to a minimum. I don't want to upset anybody being overly positive. That'd be just the wrong way of going about things. And of course, Kelly, welcome back, Kelly, with a new look, with this Clark Kent look, wearing glasses for probably the first time. And I've known you for just a little bit, Kelly. I don't think I've ever seen you with glasses, my friend.
Yeah, I was explaining to the guys before we went on is that I don't wear these very often. In fact, there was a layer of dust on them when I went to go and put them on tonight. I have a sty on my eyelid, and it's really, really painful. And I've spent the last 2 days trying to get rid of it, not just for this podcast, but for life. And I was not in the business of straining my eyes and tempting fate and waking up with it being re-aggravated. So, again, much like Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard, I want to make sure I'm not falling on my eyeball and hurting it again and keeping myself out for too long. So I'm being sensible, bracing my eyes, and taking some short-term aesthetic displeasure for some long-term functionality, which Martin Odegaard should do. Put a sling on that thing or strap it down, brother. Why you keep falling on that?
Lob it off. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, just do the was it the Ronnie Lott with his finger? It kept dislocating and breaking, so he said just cut it off, and he doesn't have a fingertip of one of his hands now. Yeah. That's so goes the legend.
Yeah, it's just the Odegaard thing is just, talk about bad luck, so to say. And we've been in the back channel that we've been talking about luck a lot revolving Liverpool. So
Hers, please hash that out with everybody. I've heard you make this argument for literally a half a decade now, and so I'm inured to it. But this is one of your takes that you've been really solid and consistent on. Actually, most of your takes you're solid and consistent on. But the one that makes the people the most mad, and that's an echelon there, baby.
A quick word about it though, and I've brought this up in one of our groups before, and I was just bringing it up to somebody at work the other day. Mm-hmm. I mean this in it pains me to say it, but they're the best team in the world at scoring past the 90th minute. They do it routinely.
Yeah,
by hook or by crook, but they do it no matter what. And I told my coworker, he said, "Yeah, I'm going to start paying more attention. I haven't really noticed that." They did it at the weekend, right?
Yeah.
And then in the Champions League as well. Again, it never fucking fails.
5 consecutive games they've gotten 5 consecutive matches, 5 on the spin. They've had the game winner after the 80th minute.
Yeah, if you look at the
time in league history, four games in a row. Yep.
If you look at the stats, season, Liverpool's stats and how many points they won in the league by turning the game over in the last few minutes of the match. I would be intrigued to see that.
Listen, I know that you're replacing Chris today. You're taking it too far talking to me about stats. So
I had to try.
5 minutes in, and you're creating another esoteric stat for Christian, who I think is in the chat, to go and try to shag. So, although it's less impressive now that I know that he uses AI for some of it, I think so. But anybody who pays $20 a month for ChatGPT Unlimited, let's slam that in there. What are the points that they've gained past like the 80th minute or something in the last 2 seasons?
I would be really intrigued to see that. I'll fucking hate the result, but
okay, and I'll give dear listeners some context on the conversation that we're having right now, because we did say this would be a little bit more of a free flowing podcast, because we're kind of cramming in 3 games worth in one podcast. Just real quick, BX Gooner is just curious. Any of you guys have a name on the back of your kits right now?
I've got Podolski. I don't know if I can quite make the turn, but
Podolski kit. Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Kelly,
Which is great.
You're blank.
That kit
right?
reminds me of Podolski. Yeah, this is blank. So this is the light mustard color kit, and I do not have a name. The only kit that I own right now with a name on the back is the black and gray away kit with Ben White on it. That's the only kit that I do have a Lucas Podolski Germany kit from the 2006 World Cup also. And I have a Sergio Ramos. Sergio Ramos kits, but that's it. Otherwise, every Arsenal kit I have besides my Ben White kit is nameless, which is a little bit strange. But
oh shit! Just because you said Sergio Ramos and he's playing in La Liga Mexicana right now, dude, that guy from Newcastle, I think he went to Saudi. Saint Maximin.
Saint Maximin.
Bro, he's playing in Mexico too.
Mexico, yeah.
I was like, huh? When I saw
Aaron
him,
Ramsey, Saint Maximin.
They're like a good second tier retirement league now. Although
who was the French striker that went there?
He's still there. Gignac?
Gignac?
Yeah.
He's played for Tigres, Mikey, for 7 years. Isn't he their all-time leading scorer now? He scored some obscene amount of goals for them.
Yeah. So it's essentially like MLS, but with substantially better food. That's my hot take.
And weather, Jesus.
Retirement goes. So going into the Liverpool thing that John was mentioning about the last minute winners in 5 consecutive games winning with a goal past the 80th minute. So the large conversation that I've been having for a very long time, and Kelly knows this to be true because he's been tracking it, is I feel like there's something about minimizing somebody's success when you're consistently saying luck. Oh, they got lucky again. Oh, they got lucky again. Oh, they got lucky again. And then on the flip side, we've all been on the frustrating side of an Arsenal match in which we're drawing a game and we're like, why are we passing it so much? Why aren't we just dropping the ball inside the box? So my argument is to simply say Liverpool is the luckiest team in the world is like, I feel like it's a gross minimization of the success that they've recently had. And I feel like it would drive us crazy had we, let's just say we win a title this season and everybody's like, fucking lucky. City and Liverpool in the transition year. They'll never win it again. Just completely demolishes our hard work. And then, again, I go back to I think Declan Rice had a last minute winner sometimes in the season. There was a season, not last season, but the season before where the second half of the season, we won all but one game at home versus Aston Villa, right? We had last minute winners for Nelson. We had last minute winners for Declan Rice. There's other, okay. So imagine if we win and we're like, fucking fluke season. You only did it because you, I don't know. There's something about just summing things up to simple luck that I feel like, I'm like, okay, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, in Portugal, I think, when Sergio Ramos scored in the 87th minute header where nobody was expecting, when Atletico Madrid was stinking the shit out of the game, and they went on to smash them 4-1 in extra time. Last minute winners, Madrid versus City. There's so much things like that. And I'm like, I feel like you're just pissing on every team for doing the classic Arsene Wenger thing and say, fuck it, we don't really need defenders. Just throw 7 attacking players in. And it's something that I feel like some Arsenal supporters, including myself, has said, hey, Arteta, we're drawing the game. We need to win it. Do you mind just fucking chucking in more attackers? Instead, it's like, going to swap out this left back for this left back because he's slightly more offensive. And I'm like, bro, you're killing me. And one thing that Kelly will say, I'll let you come in right now, John. One thing Kelly will say is at the very least, I'm consistent with my takes for the most part, whether they're popular or unpopular. I'm really fucking consistent when it comes to these things.
You've been saying this literally. I would say this first came up within the first couple of weeks of when I knew you. Like this is a core hers take for sure. It's a
core first take. I like
it's
that.
right. It's right up there with there's been fraud and officiating scandals in every league. Why would it not be in the Premier League? It's all.
It's my
this is
of takes, along with
this is like hers heritage. So this is not. This is I've been in and out of this one quite a bit. But yeah, John, it's time to. Oh, before we go on though, Gignac has played 349 times for Tigres, and he has scored 191 goals for them.
Wow.
In 10
Amazing.
seasons.
Wow.
So he's literally
when he finishes his
ever.
career, he's going to be happy. He's going to say he's going to be fulfilled. Like it's the unpopular move for a lot of players. I don't know why, because like you say, good food. But
good food, great weather.
Yeah, he's going to look back on it very fondly and say, like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't at like a Madrid or something like that, but damn it, that's a good career, right?
He has a Mexican citizenship. They are big players in our hemisphere in like club tournaments and everything. And he makes a very good case that he will retire as their greatest ever player, which is saying something for a European born player.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Anyway, so back to reality.
Yeah.
Go where you are loved.
The terminology is put it in the mixer. Put it in the mixer. That's the English way of saying it. And whether you kind of think it's your thing or think it's luck or think it's officiating or whatever, the ball goes into the box and there are bodies there ready to put it past the goal line. They're hungry. They want it. They really throw forward in the last few minutes of a match. Industrious. The goals don't happen unless you do it. So anybody can say what they want for whatever reason, but the data is there that they do it. So I don't want to, big them up too much. Like I say, it makes me sick, but yeah, definitely there's more than luck. There is a luck element to it as well, but it's not all luck.
All right. Brilliantly summed up. We'll move this on before Kelly gets his choppers into it since he went away for a little bit. But sure. John, just speaking about luck, and this is I think this is what sparked the conversation where Liverpool won versus Atletico Madrid, and I saw a comment about them being lucky because Alvarez didn't play for Atletico Madrid. And then I turned it on the flip side, just trying to be devil's advocate or proving my point. I said, well, in that case, Arsenal lucked out because, Athletic Club didn't have Nico Williams, right? And then that started the cascade of comments of luck or not luck. But using that to dive into the Champions League, this is the first away game that we have in the Champions League, first game at all, versus an Athletic Bilbao that they don't often qualify for the Champions League. B, first time in their brand new stadium. C, atmosphere was absolutely just bonkers, and it's one of those atmospheres where like you kind of think back, at least I do, because I was so bummed out with all the production that happened with the semifinal versus PSG last season. I was like, if only we had this. If only we had this just a little bit more, it would have been nice versus PSG. But I understand the banner took the piss out of it. The moment of silence took the piss out of it. So like a lot of things kind of diminish like the energy levels of that game. But overall, dude, this wasn't a traditional we're gonna show up and play beautiful football, but we got the job done. And I for one, I'm one of those people that I'm very content with stinking up a place, especially when we're walking away with 3 points. So how are you feeling about our overall play of this season? Because 1 minute, and it's mostly mainstream media, I'm starting to notice more YouTubers are being more unbiased than the fuckos in like Sky Sport. But this idea that we're like some horrible Stokish team, I can't quite marry the way we play with such a negative style of football. So like how are you coping with this whole media coverage, if you will?
Well, everything these days in life in general is instant gratification, instant gratification, instant gratification. And then you used to say with players, when teams got big players, as long and as far back as I can remember, when you get a new purchase, it's always give the player time. Even coming into a team that plays like they've played a very specific style of football and it's well known and all the players are really good at it, and they join that team to be the missing piece, it still takes a little while. Also, if they join a team that's developing a new style of play, that also takes a while. So I want to know where the patience is, because we have a lot of new players. We've tweaked our style of football. And all the signs so far are that we are still working on it, but it has been effective also. And we've had a good run of it so far. But you can tell that we are still working out the kinks. We're still getting the players in. And Capier hasn't even officially been debuted yet. He had a minute the other night or whatever, but we're still working the kinks out, and it's going to be like that probably for maybe even into the, game number 15. We're still adjusting and picking what's our strongest, getting in the flow. But that goes also, for everybody else. I saw a thing about, gosh, I'm mentioning Liverpool again. I saw a thing about Verts today on X or Twitter or whatever. And it was very critical. And I was like, man, you know what? Yeah, he hasn't been that great, but give him a minute. I mean, we're only 4 games in, for fuck's sake. People need to be a little bit more patient. And we have gotten results so far that are good, but we still have a lot to work on with the style of play and everything. So I don't think it's quite fair. And I guess my criticism of the pundits and the media and stuff is that, I mean, they're doing it with us like normal, but they're also seem to be doing it more for other teams as well. I've seen a lot of criticism about Verts. I've seen, criticism about other new players in the league and them being impatient with them and that kind of thing. So they all just want clicks, instant gratification. They expect players to come in and miraculously fucking play straight away and adapt. It's just not going to happen like that. It takes a little bit of time. So positive signs so far, though. I think back to the Bilbao thing also that you were mentioning a minute ago with the Champions League and their new stadium and that kind of thing. I thought that the occasion, watching the match, going into it, you would think this occasion is going to kind of take our players over because it was fierce. But the surprising thing is I don't think we were outdone by the occasion in that first part of the match when we were playing really bad. I feel like it was more just because they played really, really good football. They played a kind of really effective, solid football against us, kind of like Inter Milan did last season when I think it was at the Emirates. But yeah, it's a good style of football that threw us off, and I think that's why we were poor. But we're still making adjustments. We have a lot of players that are coming into Champions League. Europe it hits different than the Premier League does for sure. So we just need time overall.
Yeah, one of the takes that you had really early on in the season, I remember you kind of talking about this, John, was it's kind of okay if we stumble through a few matches right now early on in the season. And you mentioned Manchester City from a season or two ago where everybody, they were off to what seemingly looked like a rocky start for Manchester City standards. They weren't playing up to par. And
right.
Then they stumbled across, they got over the line, ugly football, but won all those games. Mm-hmm. And then they just kind of fell into place. Things just started clicking. And then they went on that run. And if we went, if we went 17-1, they went 18-0, mm-hmm. and they just ended up besting us to that league. So, all things considered, I think it's a good start of the season. We'll get to that. And something that you brought up, Kelly, you could emphasize this. Mm-hmm. Our recruitment, man. Am I the only one noticing some of our more consistent key figures of this season? Yes, this season, 5 games into the season, mm-hmm. are literally all of our new players. And granted, I understand that it's through injury, but my goodness, seeing back-to-back starts of Eze on the left, Gyökeres in the middle, and Madueke on the plane on the right. And by the way, a very young center back filling in, making us feel comfortable to the point where like, okay. Like literally the idea that Saliba told boss man, hey, Arteta, I still don't feel 100%. Can I get a few more days? And Mikel Arteta was like, yeah, sure thing. Like,
Sure.
you understand that the insurance policy that is Mosquera is just absolutely amazing. So, Kelly, talk to me a little bit, expand a little bit on the signings that we made and how well and how fast they're fitting in. And I'll say this, how fast they're fitting in contrast to other big signings around the league that haven't quite hit the ground running just like ours have.
Yeah, I think it is something that it's been pointed out in other podcasts and other articles and everything, but we would have been in a world of hurt. This is an entirely new front three with a new holding midfielder. Like the entire attacking lineup plus the spine was basically new in a meaningful Premier League game against a club that was threatening to make the Champions League all last year. I mean, they're in some disarray, and the Ange appointment is absolutely hysterical, and their owner's a fat piece of shit. But like, that's still a European-based team, right? And that's still a team with a lot of talent. And we just absolutely boat raced them. And then going into a really difficult away match, it's just, the new signings was just fold right in there. Like, it is a very big deal. And I think it speaks, I think it really, as much as we like Edu, it kind of juxtaposes what a truly elite sporting director can do for you versus somebody who knows the club well and is a great ambassador for the club, but is maybe not. I would say it's pretty clear that he's not nearly as sharp. Obviously, he wasn't given the same type of financial resource either, but that's another discussion. Like, if you're going to give anybody the money, I think that at least very early season returns are of the teams that spent a lot of money. Arsenal spent their money the most wisely and most efficiently and effectively. And that's not just going and doing what I don't want to bring up Liverpool, but like what Liverpool did, which is basically go do like FIFA and just buy the most expensive and biggest names, because Florian Wirtz is already getting the internet troll bust label. Ekitike is not, or whatever, that guy, the little version of the other expensive striker that they bought. I'm he's
so
not
confused right now. Ekitike?
Ekitike.
Oh, okay.
Ekitike, and I think Kirkesh is getting yanked at 60 minutes playing fullbacks. They've somehow figured out he can't defend, even though he couldn't defend before either, and he's 2 feet tall. So they got Andy Robertson playing again. It's a special window to be able to have these players come in and be effective right away. And again, they don't have to be at their fighting best, but to be able to go and just comfortably win a Premier League game against a good team and go away and win an incredibly challenging environment, immediately. Gyökeres, Kai immediately got hurt, so Gyökeres is the only striker here, and he scored 3 goals in his first 5 games, and he had really nice hold-up play, and even though he didn't score, he was an effective part of that win, too. That's a big deal. That's really, really good recruitment, and again, guys like Mosquera, that somebody's really good when the general football podcast will call him good. Usually, if you don't play for Manchester United or Liverpool, because that makes up 85% of the pundit base as fans and ex-players of those two teams. If people are already raving about you and seeing you that soon, it probably means you're a pretty strong player. And it's really, really atypical. We even mentioned Zubimendi, who had a double, a double in the last match, and we kind of forgot about him because he's just slotted in there and immediately just played well. And he's largely been very strong. He's had a couple soft moments, but it's really difficult to bat 1,000. And I don't want to crown us or anything this soon, but it really looks like that really large amount of money was spent in a really efficient and practical way with players that fit the culture and fit the club, and through the first month of the season have been really successful and are playing all the time. The only guy who's not been playing yet is Hincapié, and that's because he came here an hour before deadline. So everybody else besides Kepa has played. And so what more can you want if you're going to inject 8 new players into the team? 6 of them are playing and are really good, and 5 of them are starting. and they're winning tough matches. Like, that's a really, really big deal, and it's a good compliment on the club, the culture, the patterns, and the recruitment, all of it.
Just to as I said earlier on the podcast, we're going to go kind of back and forth between games, and you touched upon Zubimendi, and John, I kind of mentioned this during the transfer when it actually happened and became official, where I said, okay, a few things here. I'm not a massive off the ball type of person like other people are. That's for my fellow stat nerds to say, like, he whatever ran X amount of kilometers and whatnot. And I simply said, it wasn't that I wasn't happy about the Zubimendi signing. I simply said, I'm going to wait, and I'm sure I'm going to fall in love with him sooner or later. I just need to see what he provides for the team, because it's not as glamorous as saying, fucking Gyökeres scored 40 goals and whatever, right? It's not that glamorous, so it's difficult to see. But as the season progresses, I've been able to see him in pretty big games, including the Liverpool game, which was a very tricky game, and he held his own. Forest, obviously, the 2 goals. Athletic Bilbao was something amazing as well. So I'm like I said, I was never negative about it. I never had a negative perspective, but I simply wasn't as hyped as other people were. So I'm fully there when it comes to the Zubimendi train at this point in time. Like, have you hopped on board? Have you always been on the Zubimendi thing? Because, my goodness, the goal, which he almost repeated it, because shortly after the first goal, he nearly did it again. But amazing goals from him. Header, probably for the first time in his career. I think he's up to 20 as an entire career, if I'm not mistaken of what they said. Just absolutely lovely, and we're not feeling. And I can't remember your specific take on Thomas Partey, but I was worried that on a sporting side we were going to take a drop, and I don't feel like we've had personally, just by watching it. And if those of you that listen to the pod, you guys know how much I like the football that Thomas Partey provided.
Got you. Okay. As far as I had a high footballing opinion of Thomas Partey when he first came. I really liked him at Atletico. When we signed him, I was super, super excited. In my wildest dreams, I did not know that he was actually going to be even better than I thought, because I thought he was going to be good. But at the top of his game, such an elite player, okay? And then he had the drop, and then he got played it right back a little bit. He had a good game here and there, but his consistency was out the window, and we'll discuss for whatever reasons, side channels. But then everybody thought he's for sure out of the club, like that, like 100% out. Everybody was convinced. And out of nowhere, the ghost fucking remontada coming back and like becoming the best player in the team again, or whatever. I mean, close to it, for a good stretch there, and making some really playing consistently, no injuries, just like fucking rocking and rolling. Sorry, AJ, but rocking and rolling, straight through. I like Partey as a player, and the shoes to fill were very big, because as a lot of former players have said, that position is the most difficult position on the pitch to play. So Zubimendi was highly regarded, but yet to be tested anywhere but Spain. So I did think that he was going to come in and do a solid job. I thought he would be a pretty consistent player, which I was right. But he has a lot of heart, and you can tell that he is really given his best and he's dedicated. Like you can just tell that he really, really wants to succeed here a lot, which I like, as do the rest of the signings as well. But I have been impressed with him in his play so far. Also, for me, the goals are amazing, but I did not necessarily need those goals to say that he's done a good job. Like, they're just bonus on top of it. But I do think that he has another step to take that's going to be coming soon, probably in the second half of the season or the beginning of next season, hopefully sooner, But he's going to go up another gear, and he's going to get better. He just needs to settle in a little bit more, but he's doing the basics right. And he is given 100%, which is what I'm looking for right now. And, I've been impressed. But there's still a lot more to go for him.
Yeah, the goals meant a lot for me because now I get to say that he scored the same amount of goals of Ekitike. Just for banter purposes. No, I joke. I found him to be refreshing, to say the very least, and I absolutely love, like, he's acclimated so well, and as we said, it's a testament to the recruitment, a testament to the culture that's going on at the club. Just again, Gyökeres, because you mentioned, is it 5 goals this season already, Kelly? Is that what it is?
I think he has 3 in 5 matches. Yeah,
3 and 5. Thank you. Again, so the Forest goal, it wasn't ridiculously impressive, Kelly, but I made a joke and I said, "Oh my goodness, a left winger that took on their defender and a striker that's in the box for a tap in." And I understand that it was just a tap in, but sometimes the devil is in the detail, and it's just having the presence in the box. Both Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz have their own strengths, and they're very different profile strikers. And it's just absolutely insane watching him develop, just fall into the team so fast and start scoring goals. And again, it's great because it's kind of like getting the monkey off your back for media narrative right now, because eyes are on Isaac not scoring. Eyes are on Ekitike. Well, Ekitike's got 2 goals. Eyes are on, like, Porcesco is getting absolutely dragged through the mud right now because he hasn't been able to establish himself and actually be able to score a goal. So feel good around. You mentioned his hold up play, where I thought it was a little bit more noticeable in the Champions League game, Kelly, but it's just having that elite spearhead that we haven't had in probably a decade. My goodness, what a good feeling to be as a club right now. And feel free to talk to me a little about the goal, but again, I understand that it was a tap in. My whole thing was the movement that he made to be in the box.
It's basically 3 pieces of direct play that we've been desperately missing. One is that we lack a direct ball over the top. We have a lot of sideways passers. We have a lot of regain and retain players, and I think that's. I think Mikel Arteta was blamed for that a lot because he's a more risk averse manager. But I think it's also just like the profiles of players we happened upon. Because you got to remember, like, Odegaard came here just because he was on loan, and it worked out well, and he needed to move, so he kind of came. And so, like, in some of these other things too, like, we have a lot of passing through our center half. So, like, we were a shit show defensively for a long time, and we kind of cobbled together this style and built on being really secure on the ball. And so, I mean, we said it in our podcast for the last couple of years, we kind of lost the magic and lost the directness. And so, like, some of these signings that have come in have been people who you just drop in there, and their job is to do their thing, and there's enough structure and enough solidity around them to just keep doing all the other stuff we do, but just add players who can be more direct and powerful and try to score more. And that's basically what happened. So Calafiore was brought in, and I saw a great tweet about Calafiore. It's like, respect our left back, center back, central midfielder, right wing, left wing, whatever he wants to play, or something like that. Where it's like he literally just goes wherever he wants, and there's not any real rhyme or reason to what he does. He kind of vaguely starts in the left, kind of left center midfielder, left back spot, but he just is not really bound by that. And he just makes the first time, it's like the 3rd or 4th time this year that he's created or initiated a chance by just having a direct ball over the top. Kind of off the cuff, he looked up, he saw the high line, and Eze was there, and so he just knocked it forward. And their right back didn't handle it well, and then Eze just, one dribble, left foot, slide across. True striker, center forward. All I'm going to do here is make a direct line run. In case it comes to me, I'm going to head it in, or I'm going to tap it in. That's exactly what he did. Even when he finishes it too, it's not like a Kai Havertz, like pillow feet, like lob. It's like a whack that goes under the crossbar and like moves the net back, because we're going to hit this. We're going to hit it. So if he happens to sprawl over there, we're not going to have this like taken off the line. I'm going to hit it 3 yards in the air high under the crossbar, and it's going to be good. Like, it's a simple goal, but it's a simple goal that we haven't scored a lot recently, not because we're not good, but because we don't have the players who do that type of stuff. And like, we desperately needed that. I mean, again, it sounds so stupid. A club that probably regards itself as like a top like 6 to 8 club in the entire world. We literally didn't have a direct center forward to just kick the ball in the net and make like a basic center forward run, and we didn't have like
for a long time.
Yeah, an aware left winger who can just pass with his off foot and put it on a plate, because we just kind of like fannied about with some of these like utility players and players who are great defenders as wingers, but again, we'll get to our guy Mikey too, that we have to do some comeuppance on here in a little bit. But like that goal is so refreshing because it's what this team lacks, and it's keeping. God, knock on all the wood you can. It's keeping Calafiori healthy. The point of Calafiori is exactly what he's doing now. He hasn't been fit because he gets hurt all the goddamn time. All the live long day he was hurt. And like having that joker in the pack is what he does. That's why he's here. That's why he was here originally. And he was here. I am confident Mikel Arteta fell in love with him in the Euros when he did a 60-yard carry from center half and then played a through ball to win that match and keep him in the Euros. Like that's like, okay, shit. Like that's the center back doing this. Yeah, Locke's like a fucking like
thing of beauty.
Arabian superhero.
He doesn't run. The man bounds. Can I get a quick word about Calafiori?
Yeah. Get in there.
Absolutely.
Okay. When you look at the team photo, okay, I think it was it this morning or yesterday? The team photo. I was very surprised that he's more broad. Here I am all like slunched over and shit, but he's more broad. I was actually shocked how broad he actually was. I thought he was probably about the same size as Saliba. He's wider than Saliba. Like he's a big guy, big frame, and
he's been described by a lot of the media guys as like he fills out a doorway. He's like a very like bizarrely like superhuman looking guy.
Yeah, and I do have to say, shout out to AJ in the group because he was on this as well. But we thought for sure at Forest it was going to be Lewis Skelly starting.
Me too.
And then we said, okay, Champions League, got to get Lewis Skelly some game time. Calafiori again. He played 90 minutes. So I think the rationale behind that may be that he's not healthy as often as we want him to be. So we're going to get our fucking money out of him while he's actually healthy. He's going to play every single minute, and Lewis Skelly's time will come. But I have to say I was pretty surprised. So it begs the question, and I'm sure we might talk about this later in the pod, but looking forward to City. Do you stick with him? Because I would say that for me, maybe a difference of opinion, but he didn't have his best game at Forest. He had the contribution for the ball over the top to Eze, but other than that, I thought he was kind of flat. The Champions League game, he was a little bit better, but still, he wasn't running the show like we've known him to run the show in the past. So I'm just saying, maybe looking forward, what we think about putting Lewis Skelly in that game, I doubt it. It's probably going to be Calafiori again.
Yeah, we'll talk about the City game in just a little bit because I do kind of want to pick your guys' brains on what you guys think the starting 11 is going to be. We're playing around with certain people's fitnesses because I'm more curious whether you guys would make the change and bring back what's perceived to be the starting 11 player for somebody that's or that maybe not match fit, but bring him on because he's a staple of the starting 11, or keep with what we consistently got going on right now. So it is an interesting thing, an interesting conversation to have for the City game. So we'll have to preview that. One bit between, because you guys both spoke about Calafiori and Gyökeres, and I didn't think he had it on the locker, but we saw it turn into a goal at Nottingham Forest. But also he had a brilliant over-the-top ball for Gyökeres versus Athletic Club, in which, again, kind of wide, and Gyökeres once again it manages to get the ball from way out and create a shot. And again, I've been on record several times. I never pretend to know players before they arrive to the Arsenal. I don't watch that much football, nor do I keep track on other leagues as much. I mean, it's pretty much Serie A in England for me for the most part. So when he was coming, I had my own okay, he seems to be like a really good poacher. But I will say that I'm kind of shocked at the amount of goals that he's managed to create on his own. The last goal that he had versus in I want to say, was it versus Forest or maybe Leeds? Assuming we played Leeds because my memory is horrible. In which he got like a little bit of a bad pass all the way to the left, and he just dragged it all the way in, and it ended up being a goal. I find that to be spectacular from our striker because again, we're so used to these massive hybrid players, and now we just have a person up top, similar to Haaland, was saying, just whatever, dude, just give me the fucking ball. I'm gonna figure out how to hit a shot. And when he strikes the ball, guys, he strikes the ball with fucking with hate, with revenge, and with purpose. I think versus Forest, there was another one in which Madueke was just absolutely running that right hand side, being very creative, opening up spots. And by the way, Madueke has this thing where he fakes to his right, and then he does a simple layoff often to his right hand side to the next runner up. And that's when like Jokic just absolutely smashed the upright, I believe.
I wanted that to go in so bad.
Again, just fucking full. It's just a clusterfuck of hate when he strikes that ball. Like he. But my goodness, dude, he hits it with.
He's thinking about the Sporting owner when he hits it.
Yeah. Fuck this guy. Yeah. Fuck the critics. Yeah, it's just it's a great profile of striker to have, and I really hope. I mean, for obvious reasons, I hope he continues on to this path. Like Steve will just real quick. He says, I wanted Capia on to come in at the 80th minute to loaf Erling around, get him sent off. So that'd be, one thing when you guys were talking about Calafiore and Saliba's stature, I was thinking, and Capia, like, to me, is like the new Kolasinac, where he's just like this massive unit, and you're like, if somebody was going to defend somebody from a stabbing, he's him in this squad, is what I was going to point out.
Yeah, he's a tank. He's a tank.
He's an absolute tank. So before we move on to the City game preview, is there anything else you guys want to wrap up with on the Athletic Club Forest game? Last thoughts. We talk about the goals. As always, very unorganized today, by the way, guys. We did say we're going to keep this flowing about.
Christian is our compass to keep us on hand, and since he's, I think he might even be in the comments or anything right now. But yeah, there's three of us riffing at the same time, and it's like a jazz band. So like some of our interchanges are really good, and some of them don't make any sense, and that's just the jazz that we're playing now. We're playing. Hers your favorite. We're doing some Arsene Wenger potting now. We're just jazz, just feeling it.
We're just jazzing, yeah.
We're just jazzing out.
I will bring up just a point that I wanted to make a few weeks ago, but unfortunately, our schedules were too busy. We couldn't podcast. Came after the Liverpool game. And I think I have even more clarity of this way of thinking with even more time. The Forest game developed, the Athletic Club game developed. I do think that there is a little bit of a thing where, like, we lost versus Liverpool, and we saw this massive meltdown in our back channels. We saw massive meltdown on social media. And the more I look at this, and I think I mentioned this early on when we beat Manchester United, and everybody was like given the whole, hey, if we play like that, we're going to be in ruins. If we play like that, and like every loss is like a massive thing for us because we feel like we fall so far behind that the league is over, like week 2, week 3, whatever it is, right? And I think I'm firmly on that boat in which I'm just kind of like, I'm trying to add as much context as possible in which we go to Old Trafford, which is traditionally a stadium in which, for whatever reason, we struggle. No matter how shit United are, we struggle there. We smashed Leeds, which, by the way, somebody correct me if we haven't played Leeds, because this is the second time I say we played them. I'm just making this shit up in my head. No, Crowley, you're killing me. I'm gonna. What was game week 2 then? Help me out here. We smashed another small team. I'm gonna get ripped for saying small team.
Oh my god! Yeah,
I'll look.
You're gonna have them coming for you.
I'm gonna have them come for. Okay, so we do brilliant game week 2. Liverpool. It was a chess game in which we lost because of a brilliant free kick. Smash Forest. We did play very well, and we go to Athletic Club, and once again we don't play our beautiful, great football, but we end up winning a very difficult tie away in Spain for everything that we spoke about. We have factually more goals than Liverpool, who is widely regarded by media as the attacking team. We have a better. We've scored more. We have a better goal difference. I just think like I'm at the point where like, hey guys, like if we play ugly just for a little bit, like if there's a few times in which we struggle during the City game, but we end up winning the game. Look, guys, I don't. By the way, fuckos, we did play Leeds 5-0. We beat them. You guys are trolling me. I just Googled.
Oh my god, it was really Leeds.
It was really Leeds. I go, dude. I'm like, I know we smashed a team 5-0, and you gave me a nod of no. I'm like, what the hell? I'm just simply
sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna simply say like I'm at the point where like I feel like I'm gonna stop nitpicking because I feel like the chase of the league has been like draining me so much of my actual joy that when we win, I'm still like bitching and moaning about certain things. I'm ready to fuck around and be happy and just support the team. So call me crazy, but I'm gonna try to do that.
It's a psychologically healthy position, Michael.
Probably psychologically healthy. Absolutely.
Okay.
John, I see John nodding over there. Yeah, go for it.
Forgive but not forget. Okay. Overall, it's good, right? Everybody wants to win, and we're winning. You grind them out when you cannot play well and you pick up the 3 points. That's what champions are made of. But I'm still going to gripe a little bit, okay? Mm-hmm. The way we approach the Liverpool game, I just don't agree with it. That's me personally. Mm-hmm. Somebody else is probably okay, but we have to go into a place like that at this point right now, this season for me, and be more aggressive. Not too aggressive that you're crazy, but just a little bit more. I know the game was very 50-50. We were good for a part of it. They were good for a part of it. The goal is a spectacular goal. Fine. But as far as how we played, it was pretty even. But I just wanted us to go and fucking just play a little bit more, you know? So that's my biggest gripe. So yes, I got that off my chest. Overall, I do agree with you. It has been good, but I hope that's not an omen for how I think that's just him being super frugal with the new squad. Hopefully, I hope that's not an omen of how he's going to approach. We got St. James Park, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that again. Okay. Let's leave that behind us. And, you know, I want to see something besides how we approach that Liverpool. That's the biggest blemish for me this whole season so far. The injuries last season, we're talking about, oh my God, we got Saka, we got Odegaard, we got Havertz, you know, Gabriel Jesus is still at it. This season, we're not even worried about it, you know, and I'm sure we'll get to it again moving forward what the lineup is going to be, you know, against City. But the biggest blemish so far is how we approach Liverpool. Other than that, we're grinding it out. We're making it happen.
We'll talk about that, yeah, because I'm generally curious about. We'll talk about the partnership or the midfield, if you will, Merino, Zubimendi, and whoever's playing on our left right now that I can't remember. Somebody save me, Declan Rice. Thank you. Okay, I was slightly trolling Avreo just for a little bit because I've been living with the Martinelli comments, and I've saved them. So let me just go in reverse here. He said Martinelli actually makes great clam soup. I heard Martinelli may possibly go for a VP pick an election in Brazil. Martinelli rescued a pod of dolphins after the game. He went home and made the best sourdough he have ever made. Let me see. What was the last one? Martinelli. Oh, like when Martinelli was able to use his commercial driver license to drive a bus after the drive woke up late. So
and don't forget, he gave his kit. He gave his kit to a Bilbao kid.
Yeah.
Also.
So needless to say, there's a lot of love coming from Odell, but this is probably as negative as I'm going to get in the entire day. I'm gonna give you this, Kelly, and because Odell has been so nice to us, make sure to keep this short and sweet, right, Kelly? Don't go too in. As football fans, I do think we're revisionists based on results. I said that I'm choosing to be happy, and I'm happy for Martinelli, and I think that he might have found a niche in the squad that might favor his style of play. And I think game state really matters. But the idea that he comes in and scores in 30 seconds, and they're like, and I see like this is why he needs to start. guys, I feel like we're replacing 30 seconds for like the last 2 years. And maybe I'm being maybe I'm being too negative and too hard on the guy, but I'm just saying it's a very revisionary to like give him a clean slate for this specific performance and just like ignore and be like, this is exactly why he belongs. Again, a little harsh, but I'm not all on board on the starting Martinelli at left wing train yet.
No, absolutely not. Like, this is more, I think, with anything, it's proof that this is exactly the role he should have. After you've been beaten and ground to a pulp and had to chase around trickier players, getting this very, very fast, direct kind of sprinter, this is exactly where he should be. And again, I think, of course, I whenever Arsenal have a good weekend and a good Champions League result, I usually do podcast rounds, right? So I did the English podcast rounds, and of course, Arteta, they love making fun of Arteta anytime that he does anything to do SWAT harmony, right? So he said, talking about how Trossard and Martinelli are closers and how other sports have players that close the game and they're incredibly important. And it was something that's like has fragments of truth, but is probably designed to like speak directly through the media to those players and say, you are valued. We love you here. We want you to keep doing this. You are so important to us. And of course he's getting reamed for being such a hack and being so schmaltzy and it's so obvious that he's lying. He's just trying to make him feel better. It's like, okay, well, when you have a squad of really good players and you have a good squad, maybe the deepest squad in the Premier League and one of the deepest squads in Europe, you kind of have to go and make sure that people feel good and are staying on side and feel like they have a role. It's neither here nor there. Like, this is what Martinelli is built for at this stage. Is when he's hit that developmental point where I don't think that he's going to wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden be a complete player, right? We know his flaws. I mean, Mike, you and I have spent the better part of the last, 24 months with various states of hysteria complaining about Martinelli when he's been the only primary left winger. This plays it directly to his strength. Coming again against tired legs, just sprinting his butt off for 20 minutes, doing all the defensive help that we kind of castigate him for to some degree when it's at the expense of being a productive attacker for 60 minutes. Well, you don't have to worry about that if you come on 70 because he can just run around like a crazy person and just attack. And again, like, it offers an interesting comparison to Eze, who is more of an interior player, who's a lot trickier, a lot craftier, is going to come in field a lot more. And that's how he got his assist too. He was going and being direct and getting to the byline and then cutting back in. And it's way easier to do that when you are offering something totally different, a totally different pace of play. And by the way, you're playing against a right back who has been in the wars, getting beat up and dribbled around for the last hour. And that's it. Like, that's what you want to do. And again, we're in a position where he is going to be with the club for at least the remainder of this year. And so you talk about how you can best appropriate your player resources. And this is exactly it. It's closing out games. It's going and being a change of pace. It's being really direct. And again, it allows him to only be himself. Go out there and run. He's always going to give everything to the shirt. It's a technical and tactical limitation within how he is as a player that prevents him from being a regular starter on a team that aspires to be a top 5 club in the world, because that's really what we want to do. We aspire to be the best team in the Premier League, and in doing so, being a team that should expect to get at least to the semifinals of the Champions League every year. So top 4 club in the world. Most left wingers are not regular starters on even good ones, even international, even especially now. Sorry, earmuffs of Abreu. Even this iteration of Brazil. A player who starts for this iteration of this 2025 Brazil should not expect to go and all of a sudden be a starter at Arsenal now by virtue of his international standing. That's just how it is. And like, again, it seems like an incredibly sensible use of player resource. If we're not able to sell him for what we wanted to sell him for, which I'm sure we would have sold him for 50 million and reinvested. If he is here, this is the best way to use him. And again, there will be times for him to start too. He will start in the Cups. He will start in less important Champions League matches. He will play in 30 to 40 matches this year. But he's just not going to be a starter in the biggest matches because he can't do it. But that doesn't mean he can't do a lot of really positive stuff that's going to on the net be a massive net benefit to the club. And I hope he shuts me up and you up, because as much as I love to hear myself talk, obviously, a way that I really like to be shut up is when players in the club do things I don't expect them to do. And it's to the benefit of Arsenal. Like, I would love no more than to have Gabriel Martinelli start the Champions League final and score 2, assist 1, and be like, fuck you, South Metro AFC, El Grande Arsenal. I've been watching you for the last 18 months. And
he's going to pull his shirt up, and all that's written on his shirt, that whole sentence you just said.
Yeah. It's, instead of saying I belong to Jesus like Kaká, it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, South Metro.
South Metro AFC. That would make my life, because it comes at the, like, all of my shame and self-respect falls far short of Arsenal accomplishing real things. It would mean way more to me. And yeah, like that's fine. You can tell I'm a beer and a half deep in here. So sorry.
Listen, we've seen hand wrap Martinelli. Okay, we know it's possible. It does exist. Has it been there since? No, it hasn't been there since. Mm-hmm. Could it return? Potentially.
Yeah, let's see it.
It could potentially return. So, like you said, all jokes aside, I think that's a good plan for him right now. Mm-hmm. But could there be another good streak of play in him? Yeah, there sure could be. I can see him hand wrap Martinelli coming back again, having a good streak, if we need him for like 10 or 12 games or whatever, where he needs to be like a big producer for us, he could have a good run of form like that. Is he that good of a player all the time? No, he's shown us he's not, but he can still be useful, like you said, in a few different ways.
And he doesn't need to be. He just needs to be good in the ways we need him to be good when we need him to be good. He does not need to be an all-conquering world superstar at all.
When he replaces Selemakers on the left for Milan and finally embraces his role as left wing back and said, yeah, that's just going to be wild for me. I'm going to buy all the Martinelli kits.
Selemakers can't. Does he still actually play for them?
He's still.
I swear to God,
he went to Roma, played well, and he's in 2025. He still starts for Milan. Yes, Kelly.
Jesus, that guy has been out on loan for like 6 different clubs, and it's like, are you still there, man?
He's still there. Yes.
Good Lord.
Props to him. He's carved off a good career at Milan.
Unbelievable.
John, I so nearly called you Chris, by the way. John, let's talk about Manchester City.
Earmuffs, Christian.
Less handsome Chris. I told you. Less handsome Chris and Sebi with hair. You can call me either one.
Let's talk about the madness that is going to be the starting lineup for Sunday. So I'm going to throw. I'm figuring out if we should section this off. Yeah, I'm gonna give you 2, and then Kelly could handle another 2. Okay. We have several players that are flirting with potentially being fit for the game. So
yep.
If do you alter Saka and Odegaard? Do you replace Merino and Madueke?
I do not replace Madueke right now.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
That man is hot.
Yep.
He
how
is
fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, do we hear how crazy that sounds? Because you're comparing him versus Bukayo Saka.
I understand. Saka he's our son. He's all of our son, Nothing.
We also don't
changed.
want our son to be hurt. So there's just the same way that we were fine with Mascara staying in for Saliba.
Yes.
There's an extension of this where it's like, he can't get hurt again if he's not playing. So there's some self-protection.
Let's say
just never play him again.
Hypothetically, that we knew that he wouldn't get hurt. He was fully fit. He was ready to go. It would be criminal to pull Madueke out of the team. He doesn't deserve it. He deserves to start this match. The way he's been playing, he earned it. Saka will have his chance to get back in the team very, very soon, I'm sure. But no. For Odegaard and Merino, for me, I do have Odegaard come back in. I don't think Merino has done very much wrong either, but when he's there, he just seems to, playing in that position, kind of do enough, but he doesn't have that big production. He might have one moment or maybe 2 moments a match, but I hope we get the best version of Odegaard. But for me, if I'm making the decision, I do bring Odegaard back in. So I go, I go with those two. Madueke stays, but Odegaard definitely comes back in for Marino.
Okay. Saliba made the bench for the Champions League game. On current form, would you risk moving around Mosquera out of the starting the lineup for such a big game, Kelly, and chuck Saliba back in?
Yeah, because it's Saliba. Because Saliba's one of the very best center halves in the world, and if he's fit, he should play. Now, that should not be received by Christian Mosquera, who's 21 years old and has played a handful of games for Arsenal, as anything other than just a window into how it works, right? Like but it depends. Like Christian's not here; he's in the comments occasionally and with us in spirit, and I'll channel him by saying it depends. Is Saliba's ankle still hurt? Mosquera's in great form and is doing great. Erling Haaland is another beast entirely, and he's in quite good form, and his tail is definitely up, and he's definitely up for it. And Erling Haaland makes many very, very good up-and-coming center backs look foolish. And Saliba has played him before, is familiar with him, has clashed with him before, and so has Gabriel. And if he is in a position where he's in that kind of 90 to 95% fit range, and there's no danger or there's a little danger of him tweaking the ankle again, then you play him, and then you're fine because you kind of deal with it. And then I suppose as an extension, then if his ankle isn't great and he does tweak it, well, then you just bring Mosquera in then. Like, whatever, it's cool, it's fine. We got 4 other subs, it's cool. But like, I don't know, man. Haaland scares me this year. He seems happy and he seems motivated, and I don't like either of those two things. I want him to be lazy and sad when he's going to play Arsenal, and he's not right now. And yeah, I think if Saliba's fit and Saliba's at that kind of 85, 90%, 95% range, you just bring him back in and say, let's go back to work, Bill. Like, let's do this.
And the last question I had, and we kind of flirted with the idea about this, but like Miles Lewis-Kelly, he's not injured. He's played a handful of minutes towards the end of the game. I know that they asked Mikel Arteta why he played Merino, and Merino was like, hey, he's like, I just want to catch him. He has high motivation, emotional state because he scored 3 goals with Spain. So he figured it would be good to play him at 10 when in the absence of Odegaard. Can you make an argument as to why Miles Lewis-Kelly should play because of that, or do you think it's I'm going to say too much emotion for such a young kid? And I kind of feel like almost like now that Calafiori is fully fit, and yes, I understand that for footballing reasons he's absolutely a brilliant footballer, but I almost kind of feel like Arteta's kind of purposely kind of pulling Miles Lewis-Kelly out of the limelight and be like, hey, let's make them forget that you're the red card kid. Get out of here. Don't let them see you for a little bit. But surely we continue with Calafiori, yes?
I don't know, man. I think Miles kind of doesn't have City's number, but Miles probably is pretty confident that he has City's number, right? So like Miles, I don't think there's any rooms any position room he's sitting in that he doesn't think he's the best player in, and that's largely true. I think Calafiori has been playing one, again, Mikey, like you said, like or what John said, like sometimes you have to strike while the iron's hot, and Calafiori is going to get hurt. He's going to have soft tissue injuries, so like we better use him while he's available because he's an incredibly creative, unique player that can add a lot to attack specifically. I would be not the least bit surprised if Miles comes in as a more defensive player with priors with City, who's going to be more of a dual guy, who's going to be more of a continuity guy, who's going to hang back more. I don't think that would be surprising at all. I like it would be a talking point as a big call, but I really don't think it is. Like Calafiori, as good as he is, and as much of a wild card as he is in attack, like he still is not a great defender, and he gets caught high an awful lot. He's had to take, I think, 2 yellow cards so far, just like with guys just getting past him and just pulling him down. That's not a bug in his game. That's a fixture. He's part of the trade-off for having somebody who's like big and ambly and plays all over the place is that he's out of position a lot. And for most clubs that are not Manchester City and do not have a literally the best striker in the world. Like he isn't. You can stick your Isak wherever you want to stick your Isak, but like Haaland is the best striker in the world, and he has been for like 3 or 4 years. That is a totally different element there. And if you think that Calafiore is going to go fishing 2 or 3 times, and that increases the chance that he's going to get a red card, or it's going to increase the chance that he's going to be so out of position that Haaland's going to get a one-on-one with Raya, then like that's a consideration. So is Arteta going to do it? I kind of think that he is. I kind of think that Lewis Skelly comes in and this is like a Miles game. And he hangs back more, and then maybe Timber pushes a little bit. I don't know, but I have this sneaking suspicion that maybe that Miles has been getting charged up to kind of take on his nemesis club here and be the kind of city killer. And Calafiore doesn't often play 3 games in a week. And like John said too, he played a full 90. So like at some point we just can't have keep running guys out 3 times in 6 or 7 days and have them play full 90. So there's got to be a plan there too.
One thing that I'm absolutely I don't know how to say this without making it sound like I'm throwing shade at Saliba. So I'm just gonna say it and be nice to me live chat and my panelists. I'm just glad we have Gabriel starting this match undisputed. I've been banging this drum for a very long time, Kelly. You know this. I think a lot of people kind of viewed Gabriel potentially as the better of the 2 defenders last season. Again, there's no way for me to say this without throwing shade at Saliba or saying, hey, I like waffles, and people thinking I hate pancakes, as Tom Canton likes to say. He's such an important player. I mean, even towards the very end of the Forest Athletic game where like he blocks a shot, takes it towards the byline. It was going to be a corner, but they just ended the game, and he's just celebrating like fucking crazy. He's as traditional as old school and as a defender as you could get. He's an absolute beast, and he's like we talk about. Somebody put in the live chat, like, we were talking about the defensive duo that's going to go up against City, and somebody said it was Dino that said Gabriel plus Saliba, and it's very simple for them. Their record versus Haaland has already been established. And so I do think there's like, for all the reasons that you mentioned and praise Haaland, I do think that Haaland looks at Mosquera and says, oh, Cole, fresh meat.
Yeah.
I could bully him. And it's kind of nice having 2 established center backs already and just ready to just like bully him back, because their record is fucking insane. People are talking about Nkapia a lot. I don't think he's going to start. I'm generally seeing, I think it's a little bit too soon for it. But he's a physical specimen of himself. He could definitely go up against Haaland. But yeah, I mean, I qualify this a little bit too soon, too quick. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, sorry. I was just thinking, I almost get the feeling like, and I need to be corrected if I'm wrong here, I almost get the feeling like when Saliba was coming back from injuries before, that he did not play markedly well in those matches. The back injury, I think when he came back from the back injury, he had a tough run coming back in. I don't know if it was maybe his inability to fully play. Maybe he wasn't up to 100%. Maybe he couldn't jump right. But I think that was a thing. And could we bring him back in cold? Because I don't think is he training? He's in full training, I think, right? Now,
I think
just a couple of days.
I think it was training for a few days. Again, somebody pointed out in the live chat, and they confirmed it. He was on the bench in the Champions League.
Okay, a week of training, okay.
Yeah.
But he's not up to game speed. And like I say, after the back thing, I think he wasn't as playing as well. So that might be something. I don't know if Arteta would ever even consider that, but just an observation from me is that something that you know, or I would at least think about, because Mosquera hasn't put a foot wrong. He hasn't put a foot wrong. And I saw that also a stat on Mosquera was that he's not committed a foul yet. He's made like so many duels. He's won so many duels and not committed a foul. I mean, maybe Haaland would look at Mosquera and say, you know, I'm going to show this kid the Premier League, but maybe Mosquera will big boy him. I mean, you never know what could happen. Y'all think Saliba is fine?
Haaland has never heard of Mosquera. Let's be honest. I don't think Haaland does a whole lot that isn't about Haaland. I think most of his football watching is his own highlights.
And honestly, hey man, center backs playing against Haaland. A lot of the way that City have been attacking, from what I've seen, and some of the goals, especially this past weekend against United, I saw that a lot was to do with the defensive midfielders and the fullbacks marking Haaland. Really, the only time that Haaland would have Mosquera one-on-one would be if he was allowed to freely run into the box, or if it's like a break and he's put through one-on-one, which may be like 1 or 2 times the entire match. And for me, from what I've seen with Mosquera so far and his pace that we know about, he may be able to handle that. It's not like Haaland's going to be over, all over him one-on-ones all match. I don't think that's going to happen, especially at the Emirates. And for me, I'm just saying these are the intangible things. Like you can't just say, they're important to me though. Is the fact that Saliba maybe hasn't been the best coming back from injuries, and then on top of that, with Mosquera not committing fouls, and the way he's been playing so far, it's a tough decision. But I think I might go with Mosquera actually.
Okay. The stat that he hasn't made a tackle correlates to a funny tweet that I saw where somebody said, "No joke, I just saw Mosquera yawn. This shit's too easy for him." That correlates brilliantly with that tweet. So I'm inclined to believe. So Highbury Squad, aka Sophie, aka Soccer Diva, put in the live chat, hey, her starting lineup: Raya, Timber, Big Gabby. She's skipping Mosquera in, Calafiori. There's that dreaded midfield 3 that's scaring a lot of people. Rice, Zubimendi. I and then Eze, Gyökeres, Madueke. Any, for the most part, I think we're in agreement that what we give or take a Mosquera, for the most part, I think that's what we're going to see. The midfield thing, I'm just throwing this out there. Declan Rice is a brilliant player, but I think Pedri is a substantially more offensive threat for Spain. So maybe when people say Merino plays with Zubimendi in Spain and he's an offensive monster, respectfully, the left date of Spain is Pedri. It's not Declan Rice. 2 great players, just very different toolkit. So I just wonder if having somebody that's so offensively inclined on the left kind of provides a little bit more space for Merino with defenders dragging and the type of passes that Pedri could provide versus the type of things that Declan Rice can do. So it's an interesting balance because it's 2 games now that we've seen this midfield, and like I haven't seen much people that are completely sold on this midfield 3, but I'll say this, as far as, because I will say Merino has more defensive qualities than Odegaard, and if we know Mikel Arteta, he's going to want to keep a hold of that ball, and almost to a detriment, if you will. He's going to focus on not losing the ball. He's going to focus on not conceding, and history. Let's see if history repeats itself versus Liverpool, kind of like the Liverpool game, or if this is going to pay off this time around. And I say that because I know that you said earlier, John, that you disagree with how he approached the game. Maybe you would have seen Wineri potentially, or maybe a different type of tactics altogether. So let's see how that plays out. I'm interested. Boys, I'm ready to drop the podcast right here. Short and sweet, if you will. Just a very quick, chaotic recap. Shout out to Chris Lawfer. He first time in the live chat, I believe. He stayed awake the entire time, so good on him. So Soccer D was in there, aka Selfie, Jim, Stevo, Dino, of course the irreplaceable Martinelli, Stan, Avereo, and so many more people in the live chat. I truly appreciate you guys dropping by. I know that we are inconsistent in our time and inconsistent in our days, and the fact that you guys still show up to show some support. Oh, James Johnstone was in. Shout out to him. Happy birthday, belated happy birthday. BX Schooner, of course. You guys are all absolutely amazing.
Our good friend Steve-O too, gracing with our presence or his presence too.
Love yes, Martinelli cured my gout.
First time, yeah. Steve-O's been asking us when are we going to podcast for about 4 days straight now. So it finally paid off. Steve-O, you are the reason why we ended up doing it. We ended up.
We can't disappoint our fan, Mike.
We can't disappoint our fan. Chris, we got a new fan. Chris Lawfer says, long-time listener, first-time caller. So shout out to him. John, you want to tell your dear listeners where they could find you outside of the NAP stratosphere?
Oh, yeah. Just on Twitter, X, whatever, Arsenal Nova. Did I say that with an English accent? Arsenal Nova.
You said it with enough of an accent where I was confused, and I know your handle.
Arsenal Nova for terrible football takes and complaints, but no, I'm not on there as much as I should be. But it's all good. I'm enjoying the thanks for having me
not being on Twitter, man.
Yeah, you're probably more in a healthier state of mind than we are. Oh, Sporty J, I almost forgot you. Shout out for joining us, man. Thank you so much. Kelly, you want to tell your listener where they can find you, sir?
At South Metro AFC. Yeah, lots of soccer talk and professional wrestling too, just to make Magic Mike and Mike Hurst happy too.
Yes,
some more
absolutely.
of
that. It's a great storyline. This is actually why Chris didn't want to be on the podcast. He was worried that Kelly and I were going to turn it into a El Grande Americano podcast. For those of you that are watching WWE right now, and
so
he's like, he just decided my co-workers, my co-host went full nerd on me, and he couldn't hinder his coolness chatting WWE with us. He says Jim Housen says that you're the final boss, Kelly. What praise! My name is Mike Hurst.
I understand that reference.
I have been your host for the night. Thank you so much for joining us. All of you in the live chat, if you liked it, as always, I like to say, tell a friend. Go up at Manchester City at the end. You could find us on Spotify and Stop It, Kelly. You're killing me. You can find us on Spotify.
The glasses lift is insane. Good move.
Guys. You could find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts for audio and YouTube for visual. Live chat, thank you so much. Till next time. Peace.
Right foot this time, Martin Odegaard.
Zinchenko from Ketty. Martinelli tiptoeing in. Predatory, perfect. There is a gorgeous arrogance about Arsenal now.
It really is. They are enjoying every second of this.